Yeah, I think you look fine, bro. It ain't even that bad. You've looked way uglier in the past, that's for sure. Like way uglier.
More than fucking.
And we're back. Episode 97. This is why we can't have nice things. It's not going to be a bunch of cracking jokes and fun time as usual. That's one of the reasons we don't have Brian here with us. But Jordan, I'm glad you're here to talk about this with me because you're part of the touring community. I'm in the touring community, and there's a lot of things that fuck it up that I'd like to complain and rant about. And what better place than my platform of a podcast?
I'm part of the touring community.
Okay, you were. I guess now you just record people, but you were in a band that mattered at one point.
I guess.
Oh my god. Okay.
I
Well,
guess. You boot me over.
no, I'm not. I guess I won't do any boots today, but COVID and 2020 just fucked everything up for the touring world. I was lucky enough that I hit a tour. I went to Canada in 2020. They had their first confirmed case of coronavirus out there. And by the time I got back, shit started getting shut down, canceled, closed, and things got real weird. The pandemic has impacted the touring industry probably forever. It's fucked it up forever. Things are different now. Certain states require vax cards. Certain artists won't bow down to those mandates. It's really odd. Everything is political and divisive now. It's strange. This pandemic, combined with all the financial decisions that killed most of the annual tours, especially rock tours. We still have a couple major rap festivals, Rolling Loud, EDM has Ultra and all that stuff. They get shut down for a pandemic, but they're back strong. They have huge attendances. We saw what happened at Astro World. There's a lot of things that are affecting shows right now. And when it comes down to it, the scene as we know it is dying. It's it's hurt. It's not the same as it was, back in my day or just 10, 15 years ago. A
About to start
decade
screaming
ago.
at clouds.
Let me have my prior to midlife crisis and scream at some clouds real quick because I'm only concerned. I'm already jaded, burnt out. I hate most of the bands that come out. Anyone that talks to me knows like I'm an old fuck already. All right, there's a lot of stuff I don't like, but what bothers me is the scene was really cool. There was one point where I would find a new band every single week. Every day I'd be online finding demos. I found Asking Alexandria's demo, Breathe Carolina's demo, and I thought all these bands were amazing. It was just a period of time where no band was bad. Everyone was just good and it was fun and happy and carefree and the scene is different now. Like I said, it's dying. The biggest poison is not the financial reasons killing tours. It's not the pandemic. It's abusive band dudes. It's sexual abuse and it's pedophiles. It's these assholes in bands that are taking advantage of minors or their fans and they're preying on them. It's awful. It's fucked everything up.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it really just like shakes your whole trust in like everybody, because it's just been so, it's just been happening so much. Like
it too
it's
frequently.
really bad.
It got to
And
a point where like we got like a
especially in
reputation.
this like Warp Tour like scene, like it's really bad. I mean, that's just, maybe that's just from the optics of just the things that I've seen, like
It
in
got to a point
our
where
media, but like it's bad, man. It's weird, and it's weird. It's just
we were
weird as
bringing up
fuck.
a new band every single show that this band got sexual assault allegations,
Yeah, you
abuse
felt like it was
allegations,
happening almost
they're
every
canceled,
day.
these guys are canceled, and we got a reputation on this podcast as being like a show that cancels bands or attacks them. And like, I'm not going to dispute that or whatever terminology you like to use. When we see abuse, and mainly me on Twitter, when I see this shit, I go after those people. I want to make it known, and I want to make it hard for them to hide from the allegations, because the biggest problem with these fuckers is that they don't take accountability. They don't own up to their stories. Very rarely did any of these dudes that we're going to mention at the end of the show, very rarely did any of them own up, apologize, or anything happen. It's just like you said, it's strange. I'm not
Yeah.
on here to just like you were concerned when I gave you this idea for the show. You were concerned I was just going to come on here and rail on a bunch of band dudes, and that's definitely one of my favorite things to do. But that's not the intent of this show. Okay, so trigger warning about abuse, sexual assault. The dreaded R word is going to be used later on when describing some of this stuff. So I don't want anyone to get offended or hurt or freaked out over some of the shit that we will end up discussing. So trigger warning, spoiler warning, all that right now. The reason that this topic is so important to me is, like I said, they're preying on their fans. They're preying on weak-minded, vulnerable young individuals. Let's be real. Okay, if you're young, chances are you're not a genius, you're not fully developed, you're not mature, you can't process adult decisions, especially decisions with relationships or anything involving sex. You can't process any of that fairly. Okay, so an
No.
older person doing all that, it's definitely taking advantage of them. This is manipulation at its finest. When you idolize someone, they're giving you all the power in the world, and you are betraying their trust and their fandom and everything you've built your career on by abusing them and taking advantage of them. We're not talking about, you know, a 22-year-old girl that goes to the show looking fine as hell, wanting to bang someone in the band or a guitarist. Okay, that happens. That happens on. Let's be real. We've seen it. Okay,
Mhm.
I've been on tour with Tilly, and I've seen a lot of shit happen. Uh, the shit that bothers me is when we see these stories. Uh, the worst, some of the worst shit was when I read about Dayshell, just touring with him, knowing him, having bad experiences with him, and just not liking the guy as a person, like trying to get along and not liking him. Uh, I
Yeah.
believe every word that that poor woman wrote against him in those allegations. It's awful, dude. It was disgusting. It's awful manipulation. Like and it's detailed. It's essentially like he did things to her in the van while she was sleeping, and she's forced to sleep there. She can't just go home in the middle of the night on this tour, and he's manipulating her, coercing her into the act. It's
Yeah. It's just awful.
no, it's pathetic. And I have these screenshots here. Uh accused of sexual misconduct by at least two women. Most prominent are new allegations of sexual abuse and emotional manipulation from a female photographer who had a tumultuous experience with Borgit while she was a teenager. Her entire account, along with screenshots, were posted online. That's where I found this shit. That's why I was so disturbed by it, because I read it and I'm shocked, but I also believed every single word she said. And I don't have any proof of this. I can't just go and prove the shit. That's why allegations are so hairy. I've had people come at me when I bring up Bradley Walden from Emarosa, when I bring up the shit that he did, um, when I talk about Mikey Sawyer. People come at me and say there's a reason they're called allegations. Okay, if you are unfamiliar how sex crimes are tried and prosecuted in this country, then read up on that shit. Read conviction rates. Read what witnesses and victims have to go through. It's fucking brutal, and it doesn't work out in the victim's favor hardly ever. It's
Yeah.
fucked up the way our judicial system went. The small taste of this bullying and manipulation that I received was that whole Mikey Sawyer episode we did. It taught me that wow, people really can be turned against you and manipulated to where you feel suppressed. Like I said it in that episode. If I had been a teenager or someone weak or felt threatened by the hollow threats this asshole was giving me, then I'm not going to come forward with my story and screenshots and the proof that eventually shut him down and fucked his career up, rightfully so. And that broke my heart to understand at least a little bit what he did to those teenage girls in silencing them, threatening their livelihood, threatening to call the cops on shit you can't get arrested for because they don't know any better. Um,
Yeah.
all that just really bothered me. The day shield shit's disgusting. You've seen he hasn't done shit with his career since then.
It's because you can't be trusted out there.
No,
Like
no.
that's all what it comes down to today. It's like I was saying, you betray the trust of everybody that you go to those shows with now. Like anybody that you got, like everybody's just gonna be worried about the shit that you're doing, and nobody should have to be worried about that stuff.
Oh yeah,
Plain and
it's
simple. Like everybody's just going to fuck. People are going to concerts to listen to music and have a good fucking time. Like
that's that's a brilliant point, because at one point, like I said, the good old days or years ago, because I've seen venues close, I've seen things change. These all age venues were a safe space to go and hear new underground breakout bands, these scene bands, these metalcore bands, these core bands, whatever. And now what's at risk is losing these all age venues, these safe spaces. Like an all age venue is a blessing. Like I was lucky enough that even though I was of age, like coming, like going to an all ages venue, being away from a drug and alcohol crowd, and being able to go and chill and not have to worry about that is cool. Your parents will actually allow you to go there, so it's more
yeah,
open. And I mean, Chain Reaction is the perfect example. Their website is allages.com, for God's sake. Like that's
yeah.
where my love for all this scene shit started, was in the parking lot of Chain Reaction. And it's an all ages venue. Some of the best shows I've seen were in that tiny ass place. Fucking incredible.
It's crazy that like I even like out here, like as a kid, I knew about Chain Reaction. Like
There was a point when every band
its legend
was
was so
filming their
far.
music video
Like
there.
yeah, like it was awesome. Like
There
that
was a
was
time
definitely cool
when
to get to see that in my lifetime.
they had a tart background for a while, and then they got a full blown like sign for the Chain Reaction logo, and it was just like a whole different era there. But
Yeah,
I think back to like being in that parking lot and like thinking about what these band dudes did. It it just bothers me, man. It's like I personally haven't witnessed things with my own eyes to shut them
no,
down. So
no,
so reading about it just trips me out.
yeah. And then like let's go back on this too. Like, here's the thing: if you want to go out on tour and you want to fucking smut it up and do whatever it is you want to do, that's cool. Just do it with fucking consenting adults, man. Like, I don't understand why that's such a fucking like easy. That's why that's not like such a hard thing to follow. Like, you're an adult. Go fuck other adults.
Like yeah, like the craziest thing is like a lot of these
like
like
what do
fans of
all these all ages venues usually have? Bars where you have to fucking show and identify. You know, you have to show like, hey, you need something to get in here.
Chain Reaction, like all they sell is candy and water. But yeah, if you go to
But
like
you know what I'm saying? Like
you go to
all
the
of these
normal
venues
venues that
have
X you up.
bars. Like, or if there's not one in the venue, there's probably one next door. Like, it's
like
simple.
if
Like,
you want to go on tour and serial cheat on your wife like Escape the Fate does, that's your prerogative. But like, I mean, how
well,
difficult
not
is it to?
necessarily. Like, that's not cool. Like, if like you know,
Oh
like
no,
you need to
but
go out and
that's
be.
what they're doing. That's
If
their
you're gonna go
terrible
out, be
choice.
single, and like if you're gonna go out on tour single, like you ain't got no relationships at home that you have to fucking answer to. Like, nah, dude. It's as long as everybody is like consenting adults and shit. Like, I got no issue with it.
Look,
I got no
violate
issue
bro
with it.
code and everything. I'll tell you right now, like just about 80% of the bands I've toured with have all cheated on their chicks. That's just the way I've
Dude,
always
it's a
seen it.
rampant problem. It's another rampant problem in our fucking in our community.
People were calling out Tillian recently on that, and then it got forgotten because he got falsely accused of being racist, and that got blown up on Twitter. Just tons of bullshit. I
Yeah,
don't
like a lot.
like
You see a lot of band dudes get canceled for being cheaters and just being bad people, like just being bad people in that front.
when it
Like,
comes to. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
no, I got nothing. I was just saying. I'm just like that's just really what's going on. Like, there's just a lot of problems going on in our scene, and you know, and it all just goes to just. I don't understand what's so hard about just going out there and just being a decent person. Like, why
It's
is
hard
that?
enough to be a band, and it's hard enough to tour. So why complicate it?
But like,
Getting muddy like this, man. You're getting all in the dirt and fucking your
well,
whole
the
name
thing is,
up.
like, and I think it all stems to is a lot of people go out on tour, and it's a fun. I mean, you've toured. It's a fun time. Like, it's a good time. You're going out there, traveling to different cities, seeing cool shit, hanging out with friends every night. Like, that's a good thing to be doing. Like, but if you want to go out and party it up and be, you know, being wild out on the road, you just can't be doing it with fucking kids, man. Like,
Yeah,
you
like
can't.
I
It's
don't
plain and
understand.
simple.
how this stuff like is even allowed or happening. Like, who is allowing this? Because every band I've ever toured with, it's in the contract, it's known, it's a rule. There's no underage people, boy or girl, allowed on the bus. Like, because of what goes on a tour bus, or because of shit like this, you don't have underage people on the bus unless they're family members.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to like hearing about blood on the dance floor, a name I hate to bring up, hearing that like he's bringing like really young looking girls backstage, it's like, how are you enabling this? Because that's so glaring. Obviously, like, no band member I ever toured with has gone after young girls or allow that around them. Like, this predatory shit they're doing is planned. Okay, you can't just grab a minor and take him to the bus. Like, no one walking past security, walking onto your bus, your crew, your bandmates, everyone's gonna be like, yo, what the, no, hey, what, how old, nah, that girl had braces. Like, if this is happening, so like when I look at Dayshell and seeing that happen on his van, someone else had to catch wind of that, you know? So someone else is complicit or apathetic enabling this sort of behavior. It's a group effort. It's enabling. Someone else is allowing the shit to happen because they're not stopping it. That's what blows my mind. It's like, if this was happening on Warped Tour, it would be known, a memo would be sent out, the band would be kicked out. It would be such a big deal. Like, this is why we can't have nice things. If we still had a Warped Tour going, it would get shut down. Bands would be dropping every day over shit like this. They would be canceled at a rampant rate, and it would make the tour as a whole look bad, to where they probably couldn't come back the next year. And those bands that are accused of that, they're probably not coming back. And you'll get so many accused that then anyone can just come up with a story and accuse them, and it would literally shut the tour down. And I've told a bunch of people that if the tour kept going till what it ended in 18, if it did 19 and was going till the pandemic, I guarantee that 19 and 20 tour would have been cancellations galore. Everyone would have been shut down. Yeah. It's sad to say. I mean, it's not a joke. I don't say it to like.
No, I understand. It's definitely not a joke. I mean, it's just like, it's just sad that we're here. You know, like, it's just really sad that like this is where the state of things are.
It used to,
and
be,
yeah, you are right. It's like, no, we can't have nice things, and it's just, and there's also a lot of other factors going into it, but like, this is one of the biggest and really saddest problems. Just like, there's no real trust in these bands that like anymore. Like, any one of your favorite bands can be done.
You gotta like
I'm not even kidding you. I'll give you a big one. I saw the last Brand New show before Jesse got canceled, like days before Jesse got canceled. Rightfully so. That's you can't even like hear that band the same ever again. And like they were, and like Brand New was one of my favorite bands all the time. So you know what I mean? Like, it's just like they were, and I watched them play the Bomb Factory in Dallas, like sold out, fucking everybody singing everything, even though they played all of Science Fiction that just came out. Like, dude, everybody that loved that band, it was an undying love. Like, Brand New had one of the craziest cult fan bases ever, and in an instant that all changed, because then you really found out who that person was. You found, like, no one's ever going to look at that band the same again.
It's, you ruin the entire legacy by doing that.
Can happen. That really, it can, and it does happen. Like,
you can get canceled retroactively now. If we find out like 7 years ago you did shit, it's still over today. And it's hard to say.
Not necessarily, because most people will give you a chance to, like, they'll be like, well, that was so long ago. Like,
people want to forget.
You don't feel that way.
If they like you enough, they want to forget. Let's get
also we got to get to a point where like people need to realize that like the people that you champion, like you have to accept that nobody is perfect. Like, saying that like you have to accept every wrong thing about somebody, because obviously there's just some unforgivable shit. But like, nobody, there's a villain, and you're a villain in everybody's story at some point. Like, you've done something wrong to somebody, and like, you just got to make sure that like you're not you can't expect people to be perfect, but you do have to fucking live by like correct morals.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a ton of
you know,
people, mainly in California, from high school and shit, that do not like me for a litany of reasons. Maybe some of them are valid, but I don't have to really worry or give a shit because it was probably like I offended them or I pissed them off. It's not something immoral or criminal or something I'm like I can't sleep at night about, so I don't care. You know, if it was an opinion or I made fun of like what you were wearing, whatever. You know, it's
yeah,
not criminal or immoral shit that keeps me awake. That's why I'm just like, how do these motherfuckers live with themselves?
yeah.
Uh, we're gonna
Like,
get
I'm not
into
gonna like, I'm not even gonna like, honestly, like, I won't even like in my mind like cancel somebody for being a cheater. I think you suck. Like, I think that it's wrong. I don't think that like you're a good person, but like, I'm not gonna be like not listening. Like, I'm not gonna be like, well, I'm not gonna listen to your band because you're not a
I
fucking because you're a
chuckle at the
cheater.
wedding
I'm
photos.
just, yeah, you know what I'm saying. But like, there's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm an asshole for that, but just like that's not like a cancelable offense to me. It's just like, well, maybe you need to like reconsider the things that you're doing in your life and just don't do that again. Like, you know, is what it is. But I'm also a kind of forgiving person, so
Kind of.
kind of. There's some stuff like I said, this is pretty unforgivable. Like if Bradley Walden used to be my friend, he wouldn't be now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, you know what
No,
I'm saying? Like,
fuck
I'm
that.
just like,
Let's
it
just
is
go
what it
ahead and
is,
start
man.
railing on some of these dudes. I went ahead and
Oh
assembled
man,
a
here we
cheat
go.
sheet so that
Load the Draco, Matt.
well, here's your cheat sheet so you know at least some of the abusers in the scene, okay? As previously mentioned, Bradley Walden from Emarosa. This piece of shit, Bradley Walden, solicited nudes from a 17-year-old girl, admitted to infidelity with his wife, said he would sue the victim, did not sue the victim, posted on Twitter that he reached a settlement with the victim, then deleted the Twitter or the tweet. And he got his band Emarosa kicked off of Hopeless Records and Rock Nation, which is a huge deal. Kicked off of both. They're recording a new
Can we
album,
just
and we don't
ask
know if
how
he's
they
on it.
got on Rock Nation?
Everyone wants to know that.
I
Everyone
love
on
to
Warp
know.
Tour asked me that.
I have no idea. Like that was such like an eyebrow raising thing.
It made sense to me because I had heard for years from one of their previous managers that they charged way too much for their tour packages, and it's like they're just Emarosa, you know, so they never had that good as supporting acts. You know, that's probably how they found Squid the Whale and Bradley because they opened for Emarosa on one of their overpriced tour packages because they couldn't afford anyone but Squid the Whale. That's Bradley's former band. Like, just anyways, some weird
Moving
shit going
on,
on with
moving
him.
on.
Total liar, no accountability as usual. Shaylee Dayshell Borgett, as we just mentioned, just God. I mean, I would like to hear somebody tell me a positive interaction with this guy. Fucking creeper, weirdo. Brent Walsh, awful. Just the same thing. Him and Shaylee both manipulation. The R word that I'm not going to say. Abuse and manipulation, like getting coerced into sex. In the case of Brent Walsh and Shaylee Dayshell, it's like doing things with someone who is asleep and doing things
Yeah,
to them. That's
which is
that's
just like
that's
gross.
appalling.
It's
Like, dude,
gross.
like it's gross, and it's like, dude, like really, how is this? How do you think this is okay? Like, you don't give a shit at that point. You're like, it's narcissistic behavior. It's I don't know, dude. Like, look, there's
It's
something to be said about like vocalists. They already are egotistical nut jobs. I mean, look at Andy Sizik, okay? They're narcissists. You combine all of that with manipulation and zero accountability, and it's a story all too fucking familiar. It's what you have in Dayshell's van. It's what you have going on with Brent Walsh behind closed doors, that he has to say, I stand with survivors, and quit his own band, while Shaylee's career is over. Bradley, we don't know if he's kicked out, and then like half these dudes, we like it takes forever for them to leave or anything happen.
Well, let's be real too. Like the scene is full of fucking performative gestures as well. Like, I mean, life is full of that, but you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people who everybody says the right things, you know? Everybody says the things that they have to say, and then it's just like, does your behavior reflect that? Like,
Yeah, usually
you know,
not.
Yeah.
Another guy that I had some bad interactions with turned out to be a creep. Tyler Carter.
Oh.
Tyler Carter of Issues, man, they were just on an upward trajectory, going up, 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 and he had to screw it all up. It screenshots were just the most damning. So he was kicked out like the minute these made waves. Um, the band recently became aware allegation against Tyler. We are grooming his sexual misconduct. We will no longer be working with Tyler. We believe survivors. This was immediately, dude, because he had screenshots. He was asking for nudes from like underage boys and saying, receiving the nudes and then saying things like, "Oh, you're packing," and like had intent to meet up. Um, the story forever was that Tyler was bi, but every time I was around him, he was always talking about a boyfriend or dudes. And he always said it in like weird fashions, like he wanted to creep you out about the things he was saying about what he wanted to do with boys. It just seemed odd, but it didn't seem like my place to comment because it's like your sexuality is your business.
Yeah, like you're just like, oh, all
Yeah,
right.
but it's like you're saying
Like,
this in front
go
of
on about
like
your day.
I hung out with that band on Warped Tour a lot, and it's like I knew the band dudes, and I really didn't know Tyler, and it's like I don't know why he said all that, but he
Okay.
always just came off strange to me. Hold on, I have some more of these headlines. Brent Walsh, uh, I the Mighty, blah blah blah. Alleged victim posted a lengthy and detailed account of the incident's relation with Walsh. Not long after allegation went public, I the Mighty drummer quit the band. Yeah, that's right. He quit, and then Brent either stepped down or got kicked out. So some shit there. Day
That
Shell.
band, regardless, done.
Oh yeah,
I
they're done.
don't
You
know
can't
if
come
they've done
back.
anything.
Change the name. You're done. Yeah.
I
Day
mean, man, like
Shell.
people are gonna know, you know.
Allegations of emotional
Like, oh,
manipulation from a female photographer. It's just awful. Next one I want to get into. All right, this one was from like 2017. Okay, Mike Fuentes, the drummer, pierced the veil right when he decided to launch a solo tour as Mikey Whiskey Hands. He gets caught up with these allegations that he slept with a minor, and there's screenshots and eventually an admission that he did and a sexual conduct allegation, sexual activities with a minor. She was 16 years old and Fuentes was 23. The girl has remained anonymous, alleges the two met on MySpace when she was 15. Fuentes invited her to a show at Chain Reaction. Okay, so this is hitting home directly on what we were talking about.
yeah,
The two first made out and therefore continued to text each other. Fuentes would tell her how bad he, quote, wanted her. I mean, that's just intent. You're caught dead in the act, bro. You're wrong. Like, and you're
yeah,
doing it like on my home turf of Chain Reaction, where like I just said was a safe space. So you're literally the whole fucking reason I have to do this show and this cheat sheet and get on here and rail on motherfuckers like you. Ugh. This one was high profile as well. Josh Woodard from A Day to Remember. It took forever for this little gremlin piece of shit to step down, and it
right.
literally took us everybody on the internet hounding that band daily with, "Hey, when are you guys going to respond to this?" Because they had allegations, and the only thing said was that Josh denied it and was going to sue the victim, and then the band never made any mention of it. He continued playing high profile festivals, arena shows, touring, made a whole new fucking album, profited off it, and now when the band's like dead in the water, they might not be a band anymore, we don't know. They decide he's going to step down now, and it's like too little too late, so I hope that shit really fucking affects them. uh
We'll see.
Exits ban abruptly as sexual allegations resurface. So when you see me on Twitter and Instagram railing against people like Bradley Walden, who's now blocked me from him and the Emarosa account, okay, it's because they don't want to show any accountability and they don't want you to see these allegations when they have solo songs. Okay, does anyone else find it strange that Emarosa posts these tour updates that include Bradley in the picture, so you can only assume Bradley's still in the band for this new album? Then Bradley announces that he's going to make solo songs, the first of which came out a couple weeks ago. He blocked me because I tried to ruin the sabotage the rollout for the songs. Don't you think it's odd that there's allegations against him? We don't know if he's in the band, and now there's solo work. It, to me, what that seems like on the surface is they kicked him out, and these are the unused songs that he took with him when he left the band. And so the album for the band is going to be delayed. They have no label home, no management. And this is the third problematic vocalist. Let's not forget, they kicked Chris Roeder out for being like a fake Christian. Not to mention the Johnny Craig shit. And now you have a legitimate sexual scandal again with a guy. Like, you got to be done at this point. Just Jesus Christ. Um, dude, look, we did a whole fucking episode on this guy, but Mikey Sawyer, I mean, I don't know what more I need to say on this dude. The whole episode proves his manipulation and his abuse. He's a known R-word apist. He's a manipulator. He's a bully. He bullies women most of all. He uses slurs against them. Just the worst human being. Like he's one of the main reasons we do this shit, because we don't want these people on the touring circuit. We're not here to like poke you and get you offline to say, aha, that was me, I did it. No, we want you away from fucking children. We want you away from the all ages crowd. We want you away from fans. We don't want anyone to idolize you, because then you have the opportunity to prey on them, manipulate, and rape them. And that's been proven before. And we don't want that. You can't be trusted with it.
He sucks, dude.
His music's terrible. Like he's.
I don't even want to talk about his art. I'm just talking about like
everything he does.
A couple times that I've interacted with him, just he sucks.
You go to his Instagram and he brags about the tens of thousands of listens he has, and they're all paid for. He's a one-man band. It's pathetic, the shit that goes on.
Yeah.
Do I need to mention Blood on the Dance Floor? I mean,
I think everybody knows what that like. Everybody knows what happened with that fucking band at this point.
At one point,
dude, it was so awkward. Like them on just that tour. Like they were on 16, if I'm not mistaken, right?
They were not. They weren't on 16.
They
were
okay.
On
no, then it was
13.
12. Or
13.
No, they were on. There was another year that I remember them being on, because I remember watching them with the fucking dancing Pikachu on a stage, and I was just like, bro.
I don't remember about the Pikachu, but he had a song about butt sex pirates.
I need to know.
I'm pretty sure they were on 2013.
Well, we only did one day of it, and I remember a tour, and I think it was the 2012 one, because I remember it was like a really great lineup, and it was they were like kind of like the one spot in it that I was just like, yo, this is unfortunate.
If you want to go back in the archives and check out episode 5 with our boy Chris Qualls, Nightshade, he has a personal vendetta over Davi Vanity and Blood on the Dance Floor for this exact reason, being pedophiles. And he tells a story that's pretty gross and damning about Davi. At one point, I thought that there was a possibility those were just rumors and that didn't actually happen, because you can't believe it. Like, really? You did that to that many girls? And someone showed me that he's literally wanted in all these different states. It was like 15. I mean, and it made sense, because I remember one of his final tours. It had a lot of dates where he's playing multiple venues in like Montana and strange places. It's like, why are you going out there? It's because he had to avoid normal markets, because he's been kicked out or he's wanted. Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah, dude. And it was, I just seen it was 2011, and I remember just the whole time, like, just, you know, like you obviously, like, you're walking around the tour like throughout the day, and like you just like run into sets. You're like, oh, that's whoever. Like, and every time you'd run into Blood on the Dance Floor, you would always just be like,
something weird.
It was so weird, and it just had an off vibe about it anyway. Like, it just felt dirty. So it was just like
all really, really young girls that are watching it, that are fans of it, and every lyric is very vulgar, sexually explicit. And that's who he's like. It's literally sex music for children. And so that's what ends up happening. No, that shit was terrible. But also another fun fact, they played on 11. They for sure played 2013, and I know they were one of the biggest merch sellers. Their meet and greet line stretched around the venue. It was ridiculous. And they had one of the huge tents selling merch. That means that Warped and Kevin Lyman invited them on twice. 11 and 13, allegations against that band were thick and heavy, like oatmeal, my friend. So that again tells me that this sort of thing had Warped not ended. This sort of thing was inevitable. It was gonna happen. And if it happened on Warped, you can only sweep so much under the rug before it all
It's a
blows up and
rampant
becomes
problem,
public.
man. It's a rampant problem, man. It's you wonder when it's gonna clean up. Like you hope it really starts to clean up like soon, man. Because like just at some, like you said, at some point, like you're not gonna be able to fucking have. You're not even gonna be able to have all ages venues. Like you're just
We
not.
won't have shows. We won't
You
have all
can't do
ages
it.
venues. Like it's gonna
And
come to a
like
point
20,
where you gotta wait till
21
you're
and like 21-year-olds aren't really going to see like scene shows. So it's just
nope.
like
Yeah, if you gotta wait till you're 18, 21, well, shit. Bands like Blood on the Dance Floor won't make it. I mean, who's gonna go listen to Breathe Carolina and their early shit at like when you're an adult, you know? Um,
an
all
emo
of
night.
these, all of
Got
these
an emo
guys,
night.
yeah,
Like
practically what that shit is now.
yeah.
All these artists bring us to this man, Mr. Nutsack Face himself, Austin Carlisle, formerly the frontman of Mice and Men. Austin always gave me a bad vibe, man. I heard, whether accurately or inaccurately, that he was faking his disease. I still to this day hear that story because I've repeated it. I've been scolded for it. I've been criticized. I've been called all sorts of names for saying he's faking it. But someone again reiterated it to me. Oh, he's sick. He's just not that sick. So I don't know how the validity to any of that shit. It's just interesting. But he allegedly, wants to get some sort of treatment in Costa Rica and live out there. Costa Rica doesn't extradite, so if he had any impending charges from sexual assault cases that would happen or come up at all, they wouldn't be able to just go capture him. That's valuable to know when you read shit like this. He's accused of sexual assault. The accuser claims that Alternative Press magazine shelved a story that would have exposed multiple alleged transgressions. I have been told by sources close to the Ohio based magazine that there are more than 25 stories that AP is sitting on about Austin Carlisle. I don't exactly know their allegiance to him or why they're sitting on it. I know he's graced their cover a few times. They tend to show the same 3 and 4 bands every other month, Sleeping with Sirens. But why sit on this when like they have the reach and the eyeballs to blow this up, and it's proof it's proof why we're able to skate under the radar. We don't get thousands of views yet, but we can go on here and say this shit, and I can risk my whole touring reputation and never work with another fucking scene band for saying it. But you know, I don't give a shit anymore, dude. Like, if I had a little sister or a daughter, I don't want them going to these shows and that happening because I'm for sure going to jail for killing Austin Carlisle at that point. But I can't murder people on the show. All right. I just hate what's happening.
And he's back.
I just hate this shit happening. And to find out, like, the Mike Fuentes thing happened right underneath our nose. It happened at Chain. It happened at the all ages venue I find sacred. You know, place where you buy candy and band T-shirts and water bottles, and you're locked in there because you don't ever all access wristband because you're a minor. You know, what's so he's leading minors out the venue and then fucking them, dude. It's.
I hate to break it to you, man. I mean, like, dude, this shit happens all the time. Like this shit, these motherfuckers just don't know how to behave. And there's no real repercussions until they get caught.
No, we literally have to shout on Twitter every fucking day, tagging them, avoiding blocks, making new accounts, and force it like the Josh Woodard thing. Like, it wasn't until this shit resurfaced. It wasn't the whole year and a half they spent sitting on allegations. It took 2.5 years for this dude to finally fucking leave the band. That's pathetic. I mean, the Tyler Carter shit was immediate because you have damning screenshots. Like, essentially, that's what you need, and it's you can't ask that of a victim of abuse or assault or anything like this. Like, I stand with the victims. I stand with survivors. I believe their stories. People want to argue, especially edgy teenage dudes on Twitter. Oh, but what proof do you have? Well, what proof do you have that he didn't? You don't. You just like the breakdowns and the music, so you don't want to admit that your favorite band could be abusive. But look, we're launching a Patreon this year, and I'm going to be behind a safe-ass paywall, sitting on a safe-ass paywall beanbag chair, and I'm going to just dish on all this shit, okay? If I knew anything about sexual assaults, we could leak that and get people arrested now. I don't. So I'll let that spoiler out right now. But I know some other horrible shit that your favorite bands have done and why these people shouldn't be idolized. And it's one of the many reasons I hate the scene. Jordan, where can they find you?
Outside your favorite dispensaries begging for change.
There you go. Probably Kevin Smith and his daughter or something. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Stitcher and Twitch TV and YouTube, and find all our links and more on our Instagram at iHateTheScene. There's a link tree right there, and you can go on iHateTheScene.com and you'll find all this great shit. Catch us every Friday night. We are going to have a live show next week, people. We're back to live shows. I'm going to give you tour updates. Brian's going to give you updates on his honeymoon, and we're just going to be self-involved and stupid as shit.
I'm gonna leave y'all with something basic before we close out, since we talked about this episode and all of the wrongs and all of the, all of the sins of the scene.
That would have been a good show title too.
Yeah. Just going forward, like going out and this stuff, just like it's like mostly just like the band dudes. Really think about the decisions that you're fucking making out there, and like how much like that shit is going to fuck up everything that you and the people
your
that you've
life,
been around have worked your
band,
ass off for. It's gonna
everyone
fucking
on the
destroy
tour,
everything.
Everyone touring on the crew, everybody.
More importantly than that, really think about what you're going to be doing to other people with the decisions that you're making. Like, just going forward, just think about that shit. Like, and really just like make sure your morals are intact, because you're out there representing everybody else. So
be kind to one another.
Stop being a piece of shit. Go out there, play your fucking music, and do everything you're supposed to do the right fucking way. You fucking pieces of shit. Tired of you fucking assholes.
I knew I was fucked.